Oh man, a commentary. I've never done a commentary before. So this is gonna be kind of like awkward at first, but I felt like talking about, I guess, my art and this piece. I was kind of inspired to make a commentary when I saw one of my favorite artists do one, and oh my god, I was so starstruck. So I thought, hey, I'll do one too, because I always have something to talk about, and I kind of have an idea of what I want to talk about for this video, even though it's not really going to be a tutorial, but I am going to sort of explain something that I've had people ask in the past, and I'm just not good at explaining because even I'm figuring it out. And that was like how I shade. And the way I shade has been kind of changing dramatically recently this year. And I know people have noticed like improvement and stuff. And it's kind of why I was like, man, I guess I can explain it. I have to talk for 20 minutes, so I can try and explain it. But it's kind of in a really weird phase right now where I'm even figuring out how I shade. This video is good for me too, so I can refer back to like, hey, how did I shade that? Even though I recorded maybe 80% of the process, because a lot of this speed paint was me figuring out like, hey, well, what do I want this to look like? I had like a very vague idea about like the color palette. So let's see. The way I shade is cell shading, but like color picked. I don't use multiply layer unless I'm doing like a full how do I explain it? Like if I want to shade the whole thing as one giant cohesive piece, but most of my pieces I individually shade each and every single like color layer depending on like what colors are there. But for this one I kind of recorded the line art just so I have a little bit more room to talk. I don't think I'll be making a shading tutorial anytime soon because I'm still figuring it out, but the best way to put it is I do cell shading. Like, you focus on where the light is going to hit, where the highlights are going to hit, and sometimes I might add some gradient shading here and there. You'll probably see it in this video. I'm still experimenting. This piece was just another one of those experiments, like, I wonder what this looks like, and what does that look like? Because I don't fucking know. I don't know what I'm doing half the time. But right now I'm starting to kind of understand what I'm doing. And maybe when I get to the point of, yeah, I know exactly what I'm doing, then maybe I'll make a tutorial, and then maybe I can explain it better. But I guess I'll kind of also explain why I did this piece, because I've been doing a few portraits recently as of this video, and that's because I also suck at drawing faces. I can't draw faces for the life of me. They make no fucking sense. And I thought, okay, I'm going to just draw a bunch of faces. And this all started because I was working on my Marin reference sheet, and I at first drew his face and it looked fucking terrible. And I was like, God, this is not what I want it to look like. So I practiced faces, and then I realized I really don't know how to draw a face. So I drew a bunch of faces on the side, and then out of nowhere I'm like, I'm gonna make a bunch of portraits of characters I don't even use anymore. Well, not so much anymore, but they don't get enough attention. Like Six here, he gets all the attention. What else? So this portrait series was me trying to solidify how to draw faces better. And this particular Six piece was just because I drew a couple fancy portraits, but I really love psychedelic art, and I thought, okay, I'm gonna try and do a psychedelic piece, and who's perfect for that? None other than Six. Let's draw him for the millionth time. And I struggled with this piece a lot. I really struggled with it. I drew the hands off camera because I struggled that much with the gun in the hands. So it might look flawless, but it took me maybe 5 or 7 times to redraw the hand holding the gun because I am not as good as people think. It's a lot harder to come up with ideas when you know you have 16 more minutes to talk about it, and I've, again, never done a commentary before. So I guess the best way to fill up time is I could potentially talk about 6 a little bit, since, again, I don't know how to explain my shading, and this commentary is just an experiment. So I guess I'll start off with the fact that I drew 6 maybe in high school, and he was like my first Transformers character. Back in the day when I didn't have any characters, I was like kind of amazed that people had characters, and I based him off of like Starscream and Deadlock because they were my 2 favorite characters at the time, and you probably can tell that 6's build is based off of Generation 1 Starscream, and then he has like the color scheme of Deadlock because I really liked Deadlock at the time. And at the time, I guess I was a sophomore in high school, and I sucked at drawing also. Like, I did not know how to draw robots for the life of me. I didn't know how to draw in general. 6 was just sort of this like, oh, he's an alcoholic and he's mad, and he didn't have a personality outside of that. And I didn't draw him a lot either. He just kind of like existed, and this was before I was into like writing and character development and story writing. I was just like a little gremlin in high school. And after a while, I think it was like maybe the very first term in college, so that was like 5 years ago, almost. Really? Right now I'm in my 5th year of college, so yeah, it was like maybe 4 years ago. I started role-playing, or, you know, writing, whatever, and I didn't understand how that works. I was like, what the hell is role-playing? This is so stupid. And then I got addicted, and yeah, since then I still kind of write, and, well, I guess the upside of all of that is that I learned how to develop a character better, and 6 was my go-to because he was, I think, my only character at the time. I had Calidus, but I didn't care about her very much. I've never really cared about female characters, as weird as that sounds. I like them, but I don't like obsess over them. I love male characters. You'll notice I draw nothing but dudes, robot dudes. And 6, again, he was my go-to, so I started like learning like, oh, how would he react to the situation? I have a basic idea of what he's like. And at first he was kind of this like edgy, jaded person who, like, you know, the war fucked him up, and he was like, oh, I hate everyone. He was kind of boring and like angry. I mean, he's still angry, but he wasn't as fun as he is now. And I think at first he was just like an anger muffin with trust issues, and after a while I got bored of that personality because it's just, there was nothing to grow from it. Like, he didn't have motivations, he doesn't really have a story either. He's just sort of like this drifting idiot. So I thought, okay, I'm gonna redo him, and I recently redid his personality maybe a year and a half ago, so he's been this like hyperactive gremlin for not that long, but I really love him now. He's like my favorite because he's just a little shithead. So now 6 is just like this teenager who doesn't know anything, and he just kind of like, how do I describe him? He's just this 20-year-old with no education. He has like no idea what society is like. He doesn't even eat normal food because he grew up eating shit because he's a drone, or in IDW terms, he's an MTO, like a made-to-order soldier. So he has like no rights whatsoever, and the way he was treated was like trash. So he doesn't even know how like people are supposed to treat him. So he's used to people being an asshole. Oh, by the way, in the video, if you see like the ha 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 in the background, I did that off camera because I wasn't sure if that was going to be like legit. Anyways, back onto 6. So yeah, he doesn't know how to be treated properly, and he's used to everyone just being rude, and to him that's like normal. And he curses a lot. He says fuck because that's like my favorite curse word, obviously. Who doesn't like that word? And yeah, he's just a trash bucket with still anger issues and trust issues, and he's just kind of pissy, but like once you get to know him, he's kind of like this like soft boy. He's like, oh, you like me, that's great, someone likes me. And then he's like all cute and bubbly, and he still curses and he still drinks and he's still stupid and annoying. But I don't know, I like him because he makes me laugh. I think I explained him poorly just because I'm kind of nervous to sit here and record my voice for the first time for people to hear. But he is my favorite. He's also technically my Sona. I say technically because he is more of his own person, but he has a lot of my problems. So he's sort of more a comfort character because, yeah, he has like basically all of my flaws. Like I can be pretty angry, I can curse a lot. I don't have a drinking problem. In fact, I don't really touch alcohol that often, but he does. To him, that's like his pacifier. But yeah, he has a lot of my problems, and I don't know, every time I draw him I feel like so much better. It's like a vent piece, even though this piece is just him being literally psychotic. I guess I can talk about that because this piece was me drawing him when he is psychotic. So prepare for the edge, because his psychotic side was maybe created in the very beginning of college when I was still like an angsty little teenager, like, ooh, so cool, genocide. Anyway, that's not cool, but you know, when you're a kid, to you that's cool in like story terms. The one thing about Six that is a huge character problem is that he has this like chip in his head. He has like this, what I call it, a psyche patch, where if he kills someone he goes crazy. Again, very edgy and angsty, but I have since then built off of it, and I think it's a little bit better than it was. But in my Transformers headcanon, there was this idea of building a patch that they can install in like new Decepticons. If they are too nervous to kill people, this patch can be installed to reward new members to kill, so it's sort of like a rewarding feeling. Think of like getting a big shot of dopamine the minute you kill someone. So I guess it's designed to motivate. And because Six is a drone, he has no rights, so he's perfect as a test subject. And he had it installed, and mind you, he was probably really, really young. So in human terms, he was probably like 5 or 10 years old when they put this in his head. And when he kills, he just doesn't stop, because the chip in his head was just like a test. So it was imperfect, and it had so many flaws, and they can't take it out, because the character who created it, which yes, I have a character who did in fact design it, because I have like this whole story for my Transformers, but it's not that like important in my life. But if you take out the patch, it will actually kill the person. So it's sort of like once you get it, that's it. So Six can't take it out. Not like he knows how, no one else knows how. So he's sort of stuck with this buggy chip in his head that if he kills someone, he will literally go fucking insane and kill everyone, because it just keeps rewarding him, and it sort of overtakes his systems. He's still like an AI as well, so for him it's kind of like a setting he can't get rid of. And this piece is him, like he probably killed someone. You will see at the end he has blood over his face, and I know it's not accurate. I know I put red blood. Don't shame me. I like the look of red blood and not purple Transformers safe for work blood. I think I might do an edit of that, but I really wanted this to be like an actual bloody crazy piece, because to me that's more fulfilling than censoring it. So in this case, his gun, which is like his favorite gun, his little handgun, says bullet on it. And it's supposed to usually be on stun, because like again, he doesn't actually want to kill people, but sometimes he does slip up. He doesn't want to lose his mind. And in this case, he probably killed someone by accident. Now he's going crazy, because I wanted a psychedelic piece, and I guess I've never drawn him crazy before. Even though that's like a huge part of his like character arc, quote unquote. So that's why his gun is set to bullet, not stun. That's the symbolism, air quotes, behind it. And in the background I put like ha ha ha, because you know, angst, he's laughing because angst. And even though I could change it, I don't want to. he's not like a serious story character. He's just like I'm having fun. I'm not too strict about what I do with my characters. If they're Transformers, my other characters, I'm a little bit more serious. But so yeah, that's 6 for the most part. What else? Oh, I mean, I guess I could say he doesn't transform either. I've had people ask, does he transform? He doesn't. He has a broken T-cog, and if you're not like a Transformers person, that is the organ that helps a Transformer turn into something. He's like a percenter. Again, if you don't read the comics, a percenter is like you have a really strong spark that's like sort of abnormal, and you have like abnormal abilities. Not like an outlier, which is a superpower, but for him, it's like he has a really strong spark because the body he is in, he was, oh, what's the term? Was he constructed? No, he was, what's the fucking term? There's like a term for if you were, I think it was constructed cold, which means you were built and you weren't like born from the planet. It's such a weird concept, but he was actually like built. And his spark was put in the body, and his spark is too powerful for his shitty, flimsy body, because, again, he's a drone, and, oh, I guess that's another point, is, like, he's a drone, so his body's made of crap, it's made of whatever, and his spark is too powerful for his body, so it doesn't function well, and it melted his T-cog, and since then he can't transform, which sucks because he is technically a seeker, and it does make him depressed that he can't fly. It's like a bird having its wings ripped off. He can't fly. It's so sad. So he doesn't transform. I don't plan on him transforming ever. I like him suffering. That's so cruel to say, but I really do like having him just sort of be this depressed muffin. What else? Oh, I could talk about like his Deadlock obsession, if anyone's interested in that about him. Because I have an obsessive complex, I like to obsess over characters too, even though I don't obsess over canons as much. I obsess over my OCs more than anything anymore. But he has this sort of like obsession with Deadlock, because I did, and he's technically based off of Deadlock. And Deadlock was like his biggest inspiration. And he even colored himself the same color scheme, so that was my way of getting a loophole, like, yeah, he looks like Deadlock, that's fine, if you say that, it's funny. So his whole journey is to find Deadlock again, even though Deadlock is Drift now, and that would probably make him be depressed that his idol is not the same edgy, dumb person that he used to be. And yeah, that's 6. He's whatever. He's my boy. That's basically his story summarized. He does technically have like a pairing, but I won't talk about that because I'm too shy to go that far. But, you know, if you ever see him again, maybe you have a little bit more knowledge about my son. My stupid 5-year-old son. And I guess getting back to the video, we're at a point where I think I'm adding highlights. I was still so indecisive about this piece, but oh my god, okay, I'm adding the highlights, or the saturated light. I guess this is one part about shading, now that we're bouncing back to this speed paint. If you see me adding these like little bands of like saturated color, technically that's when the sun hits something just right, that there's like this saturation look that only is supposed to apply on skin. I apply this to robots because I can, and it's not accurate at all. I'm just being like, oh, this looks good, and it's not at all accurate to shading. If you ever want to shade, just know that the only time this really happens is if the sun is hitting your skin, not a robot, but I do what I want. And now I'm adding the glow effects and all that fun stuff, which is to me like the fun part, because otherwise they look kind of bland. That's it, really. I don't have anything else to talk about. I feel like I've exhausted my options. If you want me to do another commentary, I think next time I'll have a better idea of what to talk about, because this for me was like an icebreaker. And if you made it to the end of this video, congratulations! You heard me ramble! You heard me talk about my stupid character, and Oh, he's not stupid. If I say that, I really do like him. He's my favorite, but we'll see. Making speed paints is kind of exhausting. I always forget to do it too. Plus my computer is breathing really hard right now because it has a hard time compressing everything. So it's my poor computer. I don't want to kill it too much. So yes, if you're interested, please like, comment on the video wherever I post this, and I will next time have a better structured video. I think for now on YouTube I will just post the non-commentary, but it will be shorter because YouTube sucks, till I can figure out how to post my longer videos. So thank you for watching. Just enjoy the last little tidbits of it.